Welcome to another episode of Gorgeous Goddesses Don't Gatekeep. Today, Dee is going to show you how to wiggle without a webcam. If you are ever in a situation like Dee, where your phone literally explodes, or you don't yet have a fancy phone to track your movements, we're going to show you how you can actually set up a Vtuber model to use your mouse and your microphone. You're going to double-click anywhere on the screen to open the charm menu and hit the pink settings cogwheel. So normally when you set up a camera, you would go to the webcam tracking and video visual settings and you'd set up your camera. But if we don't have a camera to choose from or anything to use, we're going to go directly to model settings. We're going to assign your physics and face movement settings to a mouse movement. All right? Who's a real D? Both. Both are the real D. First, let's go to my face left-right rotation. Normally, this would be tracking the face X angle, but instead, we're gonna change the input. Did you see what I did there? I'm changing the input, and we're making it mouse position X. Okay? So now, if I move my mouse left and right, you can see that it moves her head. Wow! Very nice. Same thing with face up-down. I'm going to change the input for the face up-down to mouse position Y. And now I can nod yes and no by moving my mouse. Pretty cool, right? You cannot lean with this configuration, but you can move yourself around. We're going to change the body rotation to the mouse position as well. And now I can move my body left and right, as well as I can move my head. She's starting to look like she has some movement now, you guys. She's starting to look like she's alive. Body rotation Y. Change your input to mouse position Y. And now, I'm moving just like I normally would. Yay! The wiggles now return in full form. It does take a little bit of getting used to be able to puppeteer a model when you're using your mouse. It helps if you have fewer movements or simpler parameter assignments when you're working with something like this. Now, I open and I close. We're going to turn them on to auto blinking. I know, this just got real freaky. She's got one eye open, you guys. It's the perfect wink that I could never achieve on my own. Same thing with eye open right. I'm going to turn auto blinking on. She's looking at you now! Now, I won't be able to make her smile or squint or do any of those things with just the mouse movements, but you can easily turn those into expression toggles. Now, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to adjust the mouth parameters. You can do that here by adjusting mouth open and changing the input to microphone. This will be voice frequency, so it'll be voice. You can do voice A, I, U, E, O. You can do voice volume. Look at what happens if I do voice volume. The louder I get, the more open her mouth is. Kind of cute, right? She's still stuck in a half idle position because it still thinks I've lost tracking. Let me adjust that setting real quick by going to my camera settings, and I'm going to tell it to stay at the pose. I am going to also link eye blinks right here. Well, the blinks are automatic. And then the other one is that the idle animation, I'm going to turn it off. Turning it off. Or wait, let me go idle. There we go. So now it doesn't look like I'm sleeping anymore. I would have to add a lot more toggles for this to look a little bit more natural, okay? But now, having her continuously just open her mouth if you sense sound is no better than if I were to make this all work using like a TTS. It's just waka 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 right now. We are going to change this to mouth open once more and I'm gonna go to a different settings. You can turn on what's called advanced lip sync. First, use microphone. Second, choose whichever microphone you're using. Mine is a Focusrite. I'm gonna reload all of the settings. And you would then go down here and choose your lip sync type. You can do simple or you can do advanced. I believe mine is simple will do voice frequency and voice volume. But if your rigger has set you up with advanced, you can do things a little bit more accurately because it will calibrate your sounds. Let's go through a sound calibration. I'm going to click this button for voice A, and I'm going to say the ah sound for D. Ah, 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 ah. Same thing for E. E. I'm holding the sound out so that it knows what to look for. So now you should only see E, I, all lighting up if I'm using the correct sound. Here we have ooh, ooh. You don't have to hold a note, you just say ooh, ooh, E, ooh, E, ooh, E, ooh. There we go. Now let's grab A. E, ooh, E. Last one. Oh. E, ooh, E, oh. And I'm going to go to my, this is again the model settings. We're going to go to mouth smile. And I'm going to tie mouth smile to voice E. 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 So now it'll make a smile if I say the letter E. My mouth open, I am going to tie this to voice volume because I do want the louder that I get for the wider my mouth to get. E, ooh. Now let's get some shapes in here. This is only for V-Bridger. Funnel, I might be able to make this one work. Let's try voice ooh. Ooh. E, ooh, E, oh. Almost. Wow, wow. Now at least it's kind of looking like I'm moving my mouth, but it looks like I'm frowning all the time. Etsy. Hee hee hee. Hoo. Let's make mouth pucker ooh as well. Ooh. Let's go voice. Ooh. Ooh. Ow, wow, wow, wow. That's gonna pucker my mouth like a whole bunch. E, ooh. Ooh. My mouth looks so funny right now. But it does look more like I'm talking. Kinda nice. I might try to get lip press to work with eh. Eh. Let's go voice again. Voice eh. E, ooh, eh. Oh. Eh. Wow, wow, wow. But I'll be honest, I don't actually know what lip press does. I'm going to change mouth funnel to voice O. E, ooh, eh, oh. Now I've got a teeny tiny mouth. You can play around with each of the settings to suit your needs. See which sounds you make the most of when you talk. To make it look more like you are actually talking, play around with those mouth settings opening. Only. The mouth settings only. I just typed in mouth in the search bar. So, mouth smile. Let's say you don't want to be frowning the whole time. You can actually limit the range. You can limit the range for output or input. And you can also change the output here. What if I set it to 0? Now, my mouth is almost always going to be smiling. Nice, huh? Play around with these parameters. to find what you're comfortable with to give your face and mouth a little bit of pizzazz. The rest of the expressions you can actually set to toggles, and this way, it still feels like you're moving your model and interacting with your audience, but you don't use a webcam at all! Kinda cool, right? Now, it's true that nothing really beats having full tracking, so let's go and set those values back. And I wonder if you can tell just how nice it is to have when things are truly mapped to your face. In summary, what we changed on this model was I went and I moved my head angles X. I changed my body rotation X. I changed my body rotation Y, all to be mapped to my mouse. So now I can move my mouse and it will affect my model. You could also do this with your eyeballs, the X and Y. Let me show you what that looks like. Because right now, I'm looking dead into the center. No brain cells, just looking dead center. I can change IX to also follow my mouse. So now, I can look around. Kinda neat, huh? And the same thing with Y. I can change my X and Y to my mouse parameters. And now, my eyeballs move around and I'm not just looking at nothing. I can actually look around and be sussy like that. All of your other expressions, you can tie them all to hotkeys. Isn't it neat? You don't need a camera to move your model. This has been another episode of Gorgeous Goddesses Don't Gatekeep. I hope that you found this tutorial helpful. And of course, I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Okay, bye!